Okay, so the question becomes, we saw that syringe. I know producer Juliana, if you have that handy, we can take a look at that. This is the syringe found on the scene. They also found one at the defendant's home. And so the question really becomes, what was he going to do with it? There's been some suggestion by the defense he was going to kill himself. So you have a syringe, and I wondered how much would it take to really kill you, if it's even possible. So let me just take a little of this. This is not nicotine, of course. It's actually vodka, strangely enough. So if you figure, don't want to waste any. Yeah. If you figure, from what I read, 10 cc's of nicotine is enough to put you into a coma and even kill you within a couple of hours. Again, based on the research, it's not a common murder weapon. It's more often used for attempted suicides, which I find interesting. So take a look at this, just to give you a sense of how little. I mean, this really isn't a lot. I'm just going to spray it onto this piece of paper, so it gives you a little more of a visual. I mean, it's not much liquid at all, and it's just an odd murder weapon. So, Rich, let me ask you, here, let me stab you with this. Let me ask you, how does that develop, do you think? The guy is a vapor, and so he has it handy? I mean, we know from the research, people vaping now, far more than ever, are using this, pure, almost pure nicotine.
First of all, this is not the first time you've brought a weapon to the studio.
Or you
make me a little nervous. Maybe he was just quitting smoking and he was carrying around his nicotine in a syringe. I don't know anything about using it to kill somebody. Obviously, there's something afoot when he is carrying around a syringe full of a lethal dose of nicotine. He was intending to kill himself. He was intending to kill her. He was intending to kill her with the nicotine, but she fell off the balcony. I don't know. It certainly is provocative.
It's like a MacGuffin in a film. It carries you from one place to another. We're not quite sure yet what it really means. Natalie, what do you think about the defense suggesting, if veiled, he was probably going to kill himself? That's the more normal use of nicotine injection.
Hard to think of the word normal in this entire scenario. However, I do think it's not mutually exclusive that someone who is disturbed would come to someone else's home intending to kill that person and themselves. So I don't think that necessarily helps when they're trying to go to the whole, he did not intend to kill her, even though she ended up dead. It seems all the more that he intended to kill her and maybe even intended some type of murder-suicide situation, which is absolutely terrifying. Yeah, that's what I think about that. It's just very bizarre that someone would have a syringe with a lethal dose of nicotine in it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you'll notice it's a little yellowish on that picture that we saw. That's from exposure to the air, because it's normally very clear. So as we look at this guy's testimony, Richard, specifically, because I think it's going to become so important for both theories, whether prosecution as a murder weapon or even as a, not maybe just to knock her out, and not in the normal sense, but to incapacitate her somehow, or whether it was for him. Either way, the jury's got to figure out what this is about, because I think it's a very confusing element to this crime.
It is confusing, and I was listening to Natalie analyze it, and I really think she hit it on the head. What this does is it blows away the defense theory that the guy was just going there to talk. And I thought that's what the defense was saying. He was upset. He went over to her house to talk. She accidentally fell to her death. Well, he didn't just go over there to talk, with nunchucks or with a sword or with a syringe full of nicotine. That's not just going over there to talk. So that defense theory to me is gone.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Natalie, picking up on Rich's point there. I might argue the guy's got a syringe at home. He's got one in his pocket. He vapes like a madman. And so for him to carry nicotine with him at all times, not a big deal.
Not in a syringe. That's not normal. I'm sad to say that my husband vapes. They don't come in syringes. They come in these little, unfortunately, flavorful looking bottles that look very enticing to the eye. They don't come in dangerous syringes. So he's doing something completely out of the ordinary. and I think indicative of some form of intent.
Okay, so
Either to
let
use-
me make you my expert witness and ask you this then about the vaping process. I understand you can go to a vape shop and you can buy a bottle of nicotine, like we've seen in this case, 99% pure. And according to this witness and other testimony he's given, then the vapor will, use that bottle of nicotine to mix with some of these fruity, Fruit Floops flavors or whatever that they're going to use. Does your husband do that?
No, thankfully, we don't have pure nicotine in the house. I'm very happy to hear that.
Okay, just curious, and that stuff. By the way, I learned more about nicotine than I ever cared to learn. But Rich, it used to be a weed killer. That's what it used to be. They used it as a weed killer, and then found out that it's in tobacco, and the rest is history. It's such an addictive element. So now with vaping being as big as it is, this is maybe a whole new thing. We may be seeing a broader use for this.
Yeah.
In a criminal sense.
Yes, maybe. But, I'm with Natalie. When you're carrying it around in a syringe,
Okay.
I just don't buy it's for vaping. I mean,
Okay.
you would have to tell a pretty convincing story with evidence that that's how you transport your personal use nicotine.
Okay, maybe that's to come. Maybe that's to come. I don't know. We'll find out.